Hello, everyone. My name is Vesper Fortune, Bat of Fortune, Witch of Fate. I'm here to help you with yours, but to make it better, brighter. Unless I dislike you and you have wronged me, then we talk. Then we talk. Then we're having a conversation. Eden, just the person I was looking for. Oh no. What'd I do? What did I do? Tell me. Did I do something wrong? Listen, I did not do it. You have no proof. Unless you do. Then somebody framed me. No. Don't you say that now. You say that now. But go ahead, I'm free to answer any and all questions of fate or otherwise. March 6th, we're going to do some lethal. And want to see if he could join us. Let's see here, the 6th. I am free. I'll think about it. Because, like, I do want to give it a shot. And I'm totally down for scaring the hell out of people. I'm totally down for scaring the hell out of people. Or being scared, honestly. I have too many things up. Eden's always guilty till proven innocent. And there's no proving Eden innocent. Listen. Murderpalooza. Anyway. What hasn't Vesper done at this point? Listen, I'm drinking some Spike Talk cocoa, so, you know, kinda true. Spike Talk cocoa on stream. Normally I do not drink, but, it was salted caramel vodka, I think. And we had some salted caramel hot chocolate. And so I just, combined the two. So I'm a little bit, I'm a little out there for some truths. I get to bully and lethal. Everyone wants to spook me. Well, to be fair, I haven't even touched it. I don't even know how to play it, so I'm probably going to be bullied. I'm probably gonna be bullied. Okay, I'm just answering some stuff. I'm talking to a creator of something right now, and I'm like, I like your work, and they're like, oh, that's sweet, and I'm like, and I have to, like, talk about some stuff, so I figure I'd do that while we wait for, I'm just waiting for people to pile in for my satanic panic. The panicking is satanicking. Lethal Company, I love hiding in dark corners and make scary noises before my friends enter the room. My main issue is that, like everyone else, like a lot of millennials, I live with other people, so I try to not be a bother. So I'm very subtle compared to a lot of other streamers. Yes, Lethal Company. I was like looking at my live channels and I was like, why aren't I here? And I'm like, dude, you can't look at yourself on your following page. You can't look at yourself on your following page. That's kind of sad. But I'm very excited for today. I finished up all the work, though. I am realizing I probably should have held this off till March, maybe. OMG, I have everyone in here. I have everyone in here. We have all the peeps. We have the Silver, we have the Newbie, we have the Sif, we have the Ollie. I got inverted into the building. The room was pitch black. Looks like I decided I got murdered. Oh no. Hello, hello. The best purple boy. I have a surprise for you in the next coming weeks. When I can work on it. I am taking this week, I'm taking Thursday off though. Thursday is my day off because I have worked my ass off these past couple of days. I had on shipping and spooked. Oh man. I'm here lurking because apparently I like working for free. Oh no. Oh no, Silver. Oh no, system. I feel that. I feel that so hard. I feel that so hard. But I think you'll like tonight's system because I'm talking about the Satanic Panic, and I think I don't want to say you were old enough to experience it, but I know you probably enjoy the mythos behind it. And I'm just going to wait an extra 3 minutes, but I'm glad everyone's here. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. It's not going to be my best work, because I'll be honest, it's a god time. I know you went to talk about Lethal Company, but you know, we are talking about some god tonight. I actually talked a bit about this because I kept getting secondhand Satanic Panic because of all the remainders from the 70s, 80s rolled up in my parents' library. Oh no, so you probably have a copy of Michelle Remembers. I'm going to enjoy talking about that, by the way. It is funny, because I watched the documentary on Saturday. It's time for a Vesper lecture, correct? I watched the documentary that came out last year on Saturday that tells you how last minute I've been working on this. And oh my god, I cannot believe what the Satanic Panic was started by. I mean, we're going to talk about what actually started the Satanic Panic, because it's not just one thing. But oh my god, I cannot believe the catalyst. I cannot believe the catalyst is this. And I'm not going to spoil it for y'all, because I just want to, like, literally talk about it. Okay. Truffle, you're taking a break, Truffle, I'm sorry. Chat. Where's... Yeah. No, you know what? We'll keep that timer. We'll keep that timer. But y'all are not ready for what I'm going to reveal. So oh, hold on. Let me get out the music. Let me get out the music. Okay, we gotta set the mood. Mood is setting. How do I start this? Okay, is everyone ready? You know what? I think this music's a bit much. Hold on. Where is my... Hey, where's my depression guy? Where's my depression lo-fi? Where's the dude who has like the very, very bad... Where's the dude who has like the name like Help Me? There we go. Help me, help, lo-fi, help me. Okay, 4 AM is probably a good mix. Okay, now, relaxing alone in the dark. There we go. Okay, now we're good. Now we're ready to go. Okay, where? Okay, oh no, I lost it. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? Hold on. Libra. I'm having a satanic panic. My panic, it's satanic. Oh no. But no, seriously, where do they go? Oh, okay, hold on. Previous. The panicking, it's satanicking. Panic at the satanic. Okay, please be. There we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Sunday Sabbath. I am your host and teacher and coven leader. I don't know. Vesper Fortune. And tonight we are learning about the Satanic Panic. Okay. That's not the one I want. You can do this. Okay, hold on. There we go. Tonight I am speaking on the Satanic Panic, which we already know. Moving on to the next slide. Also, if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will answer if it's not already in the slideshow. Oh, also, content warning. Hold up. I will be mentioning dark things. Content warning. Suicide, child harm, mentions, sexual abuse mentions, cannibalism mentions, D&D mentions. Hold on. Murder. I think murder might be a good content warning. I don't know. I think after suicide, child harm, and sexual abuse, really everything after that's kind of dandy. So, if you have any problems with me just even mentioning those, feel free to go on ahead and take a break this stream, because I will just be saying the words. I do not speak TikTok. I apologize. I do not speak YouTube demonetization. I do not speak in YouTube demonetization, so... Okay. Now that out of the way. I know I don't always put up a content warning, but I remember this time. What exactly was the Satanic Panic? And first off, first heart Satan. TikTok, you mean you don't have an opinion as to whether Livy was that baby Gronk, the drip king? I actually enjoy TikTok, but I don't like what it and YouTube have done to our speaking patterns. But the Satanic Panic was a mass moral panic, and I also consider it a hysteria. I consider it mass hysteria because I think it meets the qualifications. That was started in the 90s and continues even until now. Today I will speak on these events, the catalyst, and the events that happen afterward. I will speak up on the lead up to these events, my bad. And like the Satanic Panic did start in the 80s. Let's be clear, it started in the 80s, but the events were decades in the making. And it's very interesting to see, like, every single thing lead up to it. But also, first Hot Satan of the Night, y'all, I think this is from SMT 4 or 5. So yum. Anyways. Michelle remembers the catalyst of the Satanic Panic. A book. A book started it all. Michelle remembers is the chronicling of Michelle Smith's therapy session with Lawrence Pastor, where he used the now discredited, by the way, recovered memory therapy and hypnosis to gather memories of satanic ritual abuse from when she was fired at the hands of her mother in a satanic cult in Victoria, Canada. The satanic cult ritual abuse in the cult didn't actually exist, but we'll get to that in a minute. But it's very interesting to see how this mass moral panic that's very associated with American culture and why we have some of the stuff we do in our culture today because of it. It was from Canada. This started in Canada. Canada, can you take this back? Please? We don't want it no more. I mean, Canada, you already have Quebec. I don't think this is too much. You already have Quebec, Canada. Take back your Satanic Panic, please. Take your girl home. But yes, this all started because of a book. Well, the catalyst was a book. A book, I mind you, only if you accept our exports of Bear by Marion Engel. I feel like that is a horrible destiny for some reason. But a book. This just shows you the power of a book, people. I'm not sure if I wanted this book to have the power it did, but you know, let's keep trucking on. Now, let's look at our woman here. Was she actually traumatized? Here's the cover, if you're not already familiar. Oh no. Was Michelle Smith actually traumatized? Yes, I believe so. I believe so. And we actually have actual, verifiable testimony to this from other people. According to Cheryl, Michelle's younger sister, their father was an alcoholic and a gambling addict, and leaving her and left her mom on multiple occasions. Their mom and dad were on and off he left her for gambling and his vices. But on occasions they were together, he would beat on her, their mother. Though to be fair, I do not have the full story. So it is likely she may have also been hurt and injured. But, her father was a horrible person. And according to Michelle and her older sister, their mother drank. But according to the younger sister, the youngest of the three, she didn't really get drunk. She just had a beer at the end of the evening.
So there are conflicting reports on that. But what did happen was, at the age of 11, their mother died of Hodgkin's lymphoma. So the childhood is looking pretty bleak. The childhood's looking pretty awful already. And then we have this entire right side here. The main reason why Michelle was in therapy when she contacted Lawrence Pazder, which was around her 30s, I believe. Her 20s or 30s. She was actually in therapy for having a miscarriage with her husband. So, Girly Pop's traumatized. To be fair though, I'd be traumatized if I had that hair too. But she was likely feeling it. She was feeling it. But Michelle was likely traumatized and was not dealing with it because, you know, I'm not sure of how therapy was looked at before the 80s. We know how therapy was looked at after the 80s. We're actually going to talk about that later. But as we know, therapy is not even looked good upon today. But she probably had a tough time finding a therapist, and to be fair, it was Lawrence Pazder, so she didn't find a good therapist either. She was traumatized, just not by satanic ritual abuse. So, before I go any further, I forgot to put in a slide for this, because I figured I was going to mention it in a bit. But, satanic ritual abuse is the entire thing that the satanic panic has laid itself upon. It is the mountain the satanic panic died on. But, it is basically what you think it is. It is doing horrible things like, you know, beheading babies, rape, skinning of people, anything you could probably do and associate with Satan and do in a religious function. that would qualify under satanic ritual abuse. So if you're thinking something horrible, you're probably right. It has probably been somewhat said somewhere before. Like someone somewhere has said it and accused someone else of it. That's how it went in the Satanic Panic. Now, my favorite part of this entire thing. Hold on, wait. Why did they do what they did? Lawrence Pazder and Michelle Smith, why did they write this book and proceed to go on a book tour and promote these ideas? What happened? Why? We actually cannot be sure. Michelle Smith refuses to make any comments on the matter, and Lawrence Pazder is dead. I will not say anything, I just hope he's where Reagan is. But allegedly, from Lawrence Pazder's previous wife, by the way, Michelle Smith and Lawrence Pazder, even though they're therapist and patient, got married. Lovely, ain't it? So much wrong here. So delicious. After watching the movie Sybil, according to Lawrence Pazder's wife, he announced to his family he wanted to create something similar. And he got kind of closer to his patients. He allowed his patients to call his house Now, Michelle was a patient before this. And so, when he began to allow his patients to call his house, at least according to what I understand, is that he allowed his patients to call his house during this. Michelle began to more or less terrorize the family every night, and she was... Not only was she calling, she was sometimes appearing at functions where Lawrence was at. And when they started the therapy sessions where Lawrence Pazder began the memory recovery, their sessions became so intense they began to need physical touch to calm Michelle down. They need skin-to-skin contact. You see where I'm going with this? But their sessions became so intense that he needed to hold her, and they need to have less clothes between them, if you know what I'm saying. So, what I believed happened, and this is kind of supported by the documentary and testimony within Satan Wants You. Best name for documentary anyway, by the way. By the family, what this family said on both sides, both her family and his family basically said Michelle fell in love with Lawrence. They heavily hinted that she was obsessed with him. And the implication is that she fed into his need to be famous. Because they said he wanted limelight. He liked being in the limelight. And like I said, he wanted to create something after seeing Sybil. For those of you who don't know, Sybil is a movie, a book and a movie, I believe, about a person with dissociative identity disorder, if I remember correctly, and about how they kind of do a bunch of stuff. The therapist kind of helps her, but there's a lot of stuff goes down. It's kind of crazy. But I believe Michelle kind of fed into Lawrence, and Lawrence took advantage of her. So they took advantage of each other. She wanted to love him. She wanted him to love her. And he wanted her as, like, his patient, his road to fame. So, Michelle Remembers, in my opinion, was not written in goodwill or good faith. It was not. Michelle Remembers was not meant to be something, I believe, taken as far as it was. But, and here is the kicker. Here is my favorite thing about the Satanic Panic yet. If everything said by the family members in Satan Wants You is true, Michelle Smith started the Satanic Panic because she wanted to get digged down by her therapist. The Satanic Panic was started by a thirsty girly. The Satanic Panic was because a woman wanted her guts rearranged by her therapist. The Satanic Panic was started because a woman wanted her kidneys moved around in her body by her therapist. Oh no, oh yes. The Satanic Panic was started because a woman wanted sex. Well, she could have wanted marriage and sex, but that's not fun. Marriage isn't fun. Saying the Satanic Panic because someone wanted to be dicked down is fun. And to be fair, she was dicked down. The Satanic Panic was started because of sex. And I love that. I hate what it did, but I love Michelle Smith for it. I hate her every other way, though. I hate her every other way. But good on you for starting a mass mole panic because you wanted a dick. But no, Michelle was not winning goodwill or good faith. That was the climax of the entire PowerPoint. It's only downhill from here. After figuring out the Satanic Panic was started because someone wanted a good dicking, it's only downhill from here. That's your thesis statement. Listen, this is more of a theory. It's a theory that the Satanic Panic started because a woman wanted to be dicked good. But it's a good thesis statement. It's a good thesis statement. Oh, I'm glad I have vodka. So, what caused Michelle Remembers to explode as it did? Now we talk about the build-up. What caused the mass mole panic hysteria? Or the mass panic hysteria? Let's first touch upon the Satanic Panic and other mass mole panics and hysterias. You think we're talking about we're gonna talk about the Salem witch trials? No. We're going further back. We're going to the Blood Libel. Everything circles back to anti-Semitism. It always does. If you cannot trace it to racism, it goes to anti-Semitism. When you can't trace it to anti-Semitism, you trace it to homophobia. It's always something with straight white men. Anyways. It's always something. It's always something with these straight white Republican old men. Or 40-year-old white women. I'll be real, it was middle-aged women pushing a lot of the Satanic Panic too. So, to give a quick overview of the Blood Libel, as everyone should know it, is basically the accusation of Jews by Christians that children, and others, but mostly children, were ritually sacrificed and tortured for ritual purposes, but mostly during Passover and Easter. Sometimes their blood being used for matzah bread. Well, like I said, it was any victims, and it didn't necessarily have to be children, but it's usually children, usually Christian children, because Christian children were the preferred victims. This, of course, is bullshit. Of course, this would all later transfer on to others that Christians did not like. But it started with the Jews. I can't say anything because I think it speaks for itself. But it started with the Blood Libel, and then the Blood Libel kind of continued on through other mass panic / hysterias. but you can see it in depictions of witchcraft. How there are some stereotypes you would associate with, the archetypical villainous witch. And not to mention, witches were associated with eating and sacrificing children. And not to mention, there is a lot of witchcraft that is associated with Judaism, and there is a lot, and there is some shared things. But then the Salem witch trials would continue on into Satanic ritual abuse and the Satanic Panic. But now we talk about the actual build up to the Satanic Panic. 20 minutes. I'm actually making good time. I was not expecting for this to be as quick as it is. Like I say, if anyone has any questions, I will answer them. That's really off there. But we're basically going to talk about the plenty of different factors leading up to the Satanic Panic. Like, what exactly was everything? Because this wasn't just Michelle Remembers. Michelle Remembers is just the catalyst. Michelle Remembers was just the catalyst. It wasn't the build-up. It wasn't the haystack. If anything, Michelle Remembers was just the match. So let's look at the following slides and talk about them. Religions. This is probably there's a reason why this one's first. So, as many people know or should know, Christianity is the major thing in America. You can't be a politician if you're not Christian. Which is funny, considering our #1 rule. But anyways, Christianity still has a hold over us, but it had a really big hold in the 50s onward. And especially with the advent of televangelism. So, with televangelism, it got even bigger, and then there's the formation of even larger Christian factors in the government. Also, by the way, this is Lucifer from... I think this is both P4 and P3 versions, SMT. But we actually start to see that whole kind of collapse a little, starting in the 50s. In the 50s and 60s, Wicca was kind of brought back by Gerald Gardner. If I remember correctly, it was 1954. But when I read the Wikipedia page on it, it kind of basically said it wasn't exactly Wicca. But anyways, we're going to say it was Wicca for the ease of the slideshow. But anyways, the world was introduced to Wicca because, like I said, Wicca was introduced in 1954. It was very new. It's built upon old foundations, but it's very new. And it was kind of a mixing of older pagan practices, magic, witchcraft, and some Eastern Eastern religious concepts and precepts. There's a little bit of Hinduism and stuff. But this kind of gave rise to general witchcraft as a spiritual tool. Not that witchcraft ever went away, or magic went away, but kind of brought back into the fold, the mainstream fold. And then more various forms of Wicca came into existence after J.L. Garner introduced his concepts of it. And neo-paganism became a thing again. Like, there are people being druids and all that today. And of course, everyone's favorite temple. Not really, but I'm not. It's not my favorite. I'll admit they have done some stuff though. In 1966, with the formation of the Satanic Temple by Anton LaVey and his followers. While I personally believe theistic Satanism has existed for as long as Christianity has, and some forms of Gnostic Christianity does hail Satan / Lucifer as a good guy. Like I literally have read that. And alternatively, there's Persona 5 Royal. The Satanic Temple is an atheistic organization, which kind of uses Satan as more of a symbol of rebellion, intelligence, holding oneself accountable in times of confusion, and heeding what current science and mathematics say about the world. Theistic Satanism and atheistic Satanism hate each other. Just as like a little side note. I have not come across an internet forum where people on either side are like, I like these people. No, it seems to be vitriolic hate for each other on both sides. Like, if there's any religion that has more infighting than Christianity, it's probably Satanism. But on to Antoine LaVey. Because broken clocks are right twice a day. Antoine LaVey is not 100% a good person. Like, he has some issues, which I may go over in some other Sunday Sabbath. But anyways, he actually sued Lawrence Pastor and Michelle Smith over Michelle Remembers, because in the original printings of the book, they blamed the Satanic Temple for the satanic cults. Which, I understand. I don't approve, but I understand. But he sued them for libel. And I think defamation, though. Libel, defamation. Anyways, after that, and this is probably like one of the first hints that the book wasn't really real, is they took out the mentions of the Satanic Temple in printings after the first one. So like that was kind of like one of the original hints that, oh, this book fake as fuck. This book fake as fuck. But anyways, besides neo-paganism and atheistic Satanism, spiritualism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and other practices were coming into popularity. Hinduism and Buddhism were coming in with the Vietnam War, I believe. I think Hinduism was just coming in because of the Indian people coming in as well, I think. But, this combined all together with Satanism and Wicca, where most people identify as witches, which, going back to the Salem witch trials, was not a good thing for a lot of people. So, like, this is kind of like one of the spiritual degradation. This is some of the Stuff that would make Christians be a little, oh no. A little bit of a Christian oh no, if you will. Like, and not to mention, I think the hippie movement and the pro-nature movement, the green movements that were starting in the 60s and 70s definitely went with neo-paganism and Wicca. And there's a lot of stuff in Wicca. There's a lot of sex in Wicca. You wouldn't think there would be, but there is. And that kind of goes in with the sex movement. The free sex movements of the 60s and 70s. There was a lot of movement. The Satanic Panic was in the making. Okay, so the rights movements. We have the women's rights movements, which have been in the works for a while. But every time there's a war, there's likely women who have to take up men's jobs, and so women would eventually get tired of being second-class citizens, which we support. We don't support that. We support women's rights. We also support women's wrongs here. We support women's rights and women's wrongs, especially when those wrongs have reasonings behind them. But women's rights has been in since probably World War I, World War II. Because women just keep on taking men's jobs when they're away, because someone has to do it. And they needed rights because they keep taking these jobs and they keep doing them, but they're not paid as much. And then there's voting and everything. And also reproductive rights and all of that. Like I said, the sex was a thing. Sex is always a thing, but sex was the thing back in the 60s and 70s. So there were reproductive rights as well. And then there was the civil rights movement, which was about the rights of African Americans, Black people. Other people of color were probably affected by what was happening. I'm not going into the history of each and every single one of these. I do not have that time. Everyone, please go crack your history books open and look to the American history section. But like I said, all of these are disrupting the nuclear, what everyone thinks is what Christians think is the nuclear family, the perfect family, the status quo. But the civil rights movements were happening. African Americans were getting into spaces where they didn't used to be, especially in the South. Again, status quo upheaval. And of course, my favorite, Stonewall. Happening in 1969. Nice. Wait, is it 8 or 9? I remember being a little sad that they didn't happen in 69. Oh well. If I'm just a year off, I'm just a year off. But even before Stonewall, there were advancements in gay rights in the 20s. Well, I do not consider... Actually, no, I do. They are part of the rights movements, let's be fair. The Stonewall riots were a culmination of multiple issues imploding on themselves. Like the mafia taking advantage of the homosexual populace. And making bars for them, but making bars for them that they didn't really feel safe in. But the Stonewall riots were basically the the main implosion force for future gay rights. Again, 3 different major groups disrupting the status quo, besides what was already happening. Because there were protests for like every single war. There was the pro-environmentalism movement, anti-war, environmentalism, pro-women's rights, pro-reproductive rights, the sex to electric boogaloo. Everything was happening in the 60s and 70s that could. Of course, there were wars. According to what I have listened to and what I have read, America was kind of floating since the First World War. Like we never really recovered from the first Great Depression. And like that has been an issue. Like we had the first World War and the Great Depression, which kind of stopped being an issue, but also it was kind of like a paradox issue, basically. But that led into the Second World War. As we know, wars tend to cause economic disruption. And that just kept continuing on. According to what I read, like, the effects of the Second World War were still happening into the 80s when this started. At least the 60s and 70s. But, America has, between World War II and the release of Michelle Remembers, America was in 9 military conflicts. Nine military conflicts on Wikipedia alone. There may have been more. Probably was, too. The 2 major ones were the Laotian Civil War and the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War is still having impact to this day, because I think it's where most of our vets come from, you know, the Vietnam vets. And like I mentioned earlier, with the Vietnam War, we had people from Vietnam bringing in their religions, their beliefs, upsetting the religious norm, which was already being upset. And thank you for the Tamagotchi. And of course, like I mentioned before, when men went off to war, women fell into new jobs, and they had to take care of themselves. Because not always, because sometimes those war bonds, those war benefits didn't really feed the family. That is, if it was more than one of you. Or sometimes, you know, a girl gotta get her bag. Or a girl be bisexual and she go to work with a lot of other bisexuals and lesbians. You know, there's plenty of reasons to have a job with other women. And of course, we kind of gotta take a little dip on, you know, all the serial killers that was happening. Multiple, more than one serial killer was active during the 70s. All of our favorites are here. We got Ted Bundy, who worked from 74 to 78. BTK, worked from 74 to 91. He worked the entire Panic. And we got the Son of Sam during the summer of 76. We got the All-Stars lineup, people, here. Choose your player. And of course, hold on. Oh, I realized I put my... Oh no, hold on. We're about to start ads, so I'm going to go refill on my water. So, like, we'll continue this when I come back. But yeah, serial killers, what fun, huh? What fun. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta go get water. Oh, did I forget to unmute? I forgot to unmute, didn't I? Don't worry, it's during ads. It was during ads, so yeah, it's good. It's all good. My PNG would like to have a time, because I would like to have a time too. I like to have a time like Michelle Smith. I like to start a mass moral panic. I like to start a mass moral panic with my need for D. I want to. I mean, I'm hitting that level, don't get me wrong. But I'm not sure how I would do it. I'm sure I have hit the level of need, I just haven't hit the level of how to do it. Just wait until Last Boys gets big. Yeah, you know what? That sounds good. Then the full panic will start. True. True. Sari says my ad break is over, but my ad break thing doesn't say my ad break is over. Okay, I hope everyone is back. Now, we will do a light going over the all-star lineup we got. Like I said, we had multiple serial killers working this time. We had Ted Bundy, 74 to 78. BTK, which is bind... Hold on. I was gonna say bind, trade, kill. I trade my bodies like Pokemon cards. I trade my bodies like Pokemon cards. Can you tell me what BTK stands for? Bind, torture, kill. Thank you. We had bind, torture, kill working. Working from 74 to 91, he worked that entire shift of the Satanic Panic, mostly. And we got the Son of Sam during 76, the summer of 76, I believe. And of course, the cherry on top of all of this. Well, the two cherries. Well, actually, no. One of these is the foundation, the other's the cherry. There was the Tate, not taint, Tate. The Tate LaBianca murders performed by Charles Manson and his family, who could be considered a small cult. I think he qualifies as a cult. And of course, and that's the foundation. Charles Manson is considered the foundation for a lot of these satanic panicking-esque kills. And of course, we have the Zodiac Killer, whose most acclaimed body count was in the 70s, but the verifiable bodies were in the late 60s, so we're not actually sure if he killed the people he claimed to kill in the 70s. We think he did. It depends. But we have an all-star lineup of killers here. There's some really fucked up person here who there's some really fucked up person who can watch this and be like, ooh, we're watching you. We're watching you, Sharon. But on to more things. A lot of countercultures were forming. I mentioned this earlier. A lot of this just feeds into itself. The 60s and 70s were just an Ouroboros. The 60s and 70s were just an Ouroboros of culture at this point. Everything just fed into each other. Well, that wouldn't be an Ouroboros. That would be more of a Cerberus eating itself? Maybe. The Ouroboros serpent, I guess. I don't know. But, there's a lot of counterculture that was forming. I suppose because of televangelism, Christianity in general having a very strong hold. The moral majority being in power, I think. Like, the moral majority wasn't a thing until just before Reagan. Anyways. But you can be sure that there were Christians lobbying for certain politicians. But there was the hippie movement, drug culture, punk, like I said, sex too. Everything basically was kind of this explosion of going against what was popular in the 50s. Because I guess 50s was like super stuck up. And if I think about it, that's probably true. And of course, we get into movies and books. Because, entertainment always has its place. There was 3 movies focused around the horror of Satan and demons in general. There was Rosemary's Baby, where a woman was manipulated. A woman was manipulated into having the baby of Satan. Oh, well, her baby was turned into a vessel for Satan. She was already pregnant. I read the book. I think she was already pregnant when they started manipulating her. The Exorcist, which of course is about a girl being exorcised of a demon. And The Omen, which, if I remember correctly, is about a child who is Antichrist. So, yeah. Kind of propping us up here. Then, in 1972, there was a memoir written by Mike Warnke called The Satan Cellar, where apparently he which is about his adventures as a Satanist before converting to evangelical Christianity. The major claim was that he led 1,500 Satanists in rape and human sacrifice before he himself converted to Christianity. This was discredited, as it should be. Because, it sounds fantastical. A lot of the reason why the Satanic Panic kind of just stopped was because the fantastical claims could not be backed up. There was literally, I forgot to put this in, but we're going to talk about it later. The fantastical claims could not be backed up. And of course, there's Jay's journal, an autobiographical account of a teenager haunted by a demon named Raoul, and his spiral into Satanism, which features very gothic things like getting married in a graveyard, oh, I forgot what it's called. Missions, but for a cult. And of course, getting your girlfriend methamphetamines. Now, of course, there's a little bit more factors in all of these, but if you look at all of these, all in the same place, you can be like, oh, yeah, I can see how this started. But all these factors that more likely led to the explosion that was the Satanic Panic. Again, well, actually, I have not iterated this, but I do wholly believe, even if Michelle Remembers was not written, something would have Something would have happened without Michelle Remembers. It's just a cultural release. Michelle Remembers was the match to the powder keg. That was all. There was nothing that could have been done. If it was not Michelle Remembers, it would have been someone else. Something else. Someone else would have written the book, would have done something. It may have not been a Satanic Panic, but the Satanic Panic was it, and that's why we're talking about it. But like I said, I 100% believe we could consider this a timeline anchor. If the Satanic Panic does not happen, time will go back and fuck something else up to have something similar happen. Because this shaped not only our country, but also our culture. So, while I do not believe it necessarily needed to be Michelle Remembers, I do believe this is a timeline anchor. This thesis is getting more fucked up, ain't it? Michelle needed a good dicking down, and she made a timeline anchor. Proud of you, Michelle. So, what really happened after all that? A disaster. That's what it was. An absolute disaster. What exactly happened? By the way, more hot Satan, everyone. This is by Robert. I forgot what his name is. Robert Gialli. I'll probably make an art post on Twitter later. Okay, so first things first, the children. I always gotta talk about the kids first. Because, trauma. It affects us when we're children, and then it fucks us up later. So, oh god, I'm regretting this red on black and white already. So, the first and probably most affected people, trauma. Trauma. It must be recycled. Anyways. Because that's what actually happens when you get trauma as a child. You take it, put it inside your body, save it for later, and recycle it. Anyways, children were the first and main victims of the Satanic Panic. Not by those performing ritual satanic abuse, but by therapists, police officers, interrogators, anyone who decided to question and lead children to admitting they were abused in the name of Satan, or in a manner that would be appeasable and someone could relate to Satan. So, children were questioned, led, and they were, kind of primed. They were primed to this very leading questioning. But, children were either led to actually believe they were ritually abused, or children were used as tools for throwing people under the bus. And there's plenty of reasons why people would throw other people under the bus. They don't like them. They're in the way of things that those people want to do. They're in the way of promotions, or just generally people being unpleasant. Nothing new. Consider being accused of satanic ritual abuse. Twitter canceling, but worse. It is a Twitter cancel campaign, only you're being accused of abusing children. Anyways. Abusing children in the name of Satan in a Christian country. Anyways. Children were either led to believe they were actually abused being used as tools for other people, or, kind of just being in general misled over this entire deal and not knowing what they were doing and feeling bad that they either were throwing people under the bus or weren't giving the right answers. Because, children will feel bad. They will realize that they aren't doing the thing you want them to do. So, children were the first victims, the main victims, because a lot of the satanic ritual abuse was around children. It wasn't around adults. Michelle remembers was about her when she was 5, and she recounted everything what happened to her as a child in the 1950s. So people were fearful for their children in the 80s. Not to be fair, but again, fantastical that people would think that over 30 years these people would not have been found out, or it's very funny. Again, there's a reason why this panic happened. There was a belief of the moral degradation. There was a disruption of the status quo that was just continuing and continuing and continuing. On water. So, I think that goes back. Wasn't Socrates executed for corrupting the youth? I don't know, but if I remember correctly, Socrates wasn't well liked, I think, in general. However, I don't remember. Greek philosophers aren't my thing, and honestly, I think Twitter has ruined me on some of them. Not because Twitter just was like, oh, Socrates did this. No, I'm tired of seeing Greek statue PFPs ruin actually great men who were likely homosexual. Anyways. The second victims are... Second list of victims I consider mentally ill adults. Because, again, this goes back to children. But, there were patients who wanted to... There were therapists who wanted to make money off of this. There were bad people as therapists. There are bad people as therapists today, but it was true back then, it's true now. First verse, same. Second verse, same as the first. But anyways, there were people who were manipulated by their therapist into believing that they were victims of ritual abuse when they were also children. And while there are adults, non-therapists or people who did work with a slimy sleazeball to say that they were ritually abused and then they got on to TV or something for their 15 minutes of fame, there are likely many people who did not speak up because of those people. There were so many fakers that these mentally ill people who were going to therapists may have been double traumatized or triple traumatized, because first they had an actual trauma, then they were tricked into believing that trauma was ritual abuse. Then they spoke up on that trauma, and you had to relive that. And even if it's fake, you would still be reliving it. And then they learn that trauma is fake, and that that they had some actual other different trauma that they either don't remember or they push back in the name of having this satanic ritual abuse trauma. And then they're kind of traumatized by the fact that there were so many fakers pretending to have trauma on television, having these stories, having these 15 minutes of fame, when they aren't allowed to speak up on their trauma because it's not as exciting, it's not as beautiful or pretty or melancholic or as entertaining. So, like, while I believe there were a lot of people faking having trauma just in general for their 15 minutes of fame, I do believe there are likely people who were not only traumatized by their previous trauma, but by therapists and this entire panic in general. This is more a theory, though. I have not looked up to see if there are people who were tricked into believing they had ritual abuse trauma, but they actually had different trauma. But I would believe this happened because there was just so many therapists wanting to cash in on their fame too. And of course, we have the mothers and caregivers. As I was mentioning, mothers were putting their mothers, single or not, have put their children were putting their children to daycare or leaving them with somebody. And since a lot again, this was circulating around children, this was rotating around children, this was centered on children. There were reports from women, from men, but a lot of this was focused on the children. And this is why it was also tied into stranger danger for a bit. But a lot of this was circulating children, and so women were kind of, mothers were kind of stuck in a hard place because they were entering the workforce, but now they couldn't trust anyone because ritual satanic abuse was a thing, apparently. Or at least they believed it was a thing. I believe that parts of this panic was just to make other people feel absolutely horrid about their choices. Which it did very well, I might add. But, yeah, mothers were just kind of screwed over with this. Like, I can't trust anyone, I have to take care of this child myself. Lovely. I can't have babysitters or take them to daycare or anything. And it's like, and not to mention, like, the satanic ritual abuse claims and allegations would shut down daycares. And that's where we go to caregivers, caretakers, how we want to pronounce it. Anyone related to childcare in general, or just being around children, were accused, like, you could be accused of ritual satanic abuse just because someone else didn't like you. Like, no one had to have proof. You just had to have a kid, and you didn't have to like a person. That's where this went. This, again, witch trials. There's so many false allegations just because, someone took something and was like, I don't like you. I'm going to accuse you of something. There'll be no proof, but it will happen. And this is kind of like more of an extra slide. Like I said, the accused and the arrested. But this is very particularly important, even though it does feel like kind of like me reiterating. If you were accused or arrested, your life was basically over because you were associated with child rape, you were associated with child abuse, you were associated with cannibalism and sacrifice and bloodletting and killing babies. Because again, it's fantastical, but no one's seeing that. Wow, I am so done.
I am done with these people from the 80s. Fuck these people, man. But, like, your life is basically over if that happened. You had to fucking move. So, this bitch. This hoe. Again, according to my theory, the entire satanic panic was started because this woman wanted to be dicked down by her therapist. Anyways. Who pushed the satanic panic? Whose hands were in the pie of the panic? Whose hands were in the pie of the panic? Who made this pie? And who had to lie in it? Your fingers were in this pie, now lie in it. Well, first off, we had the main duo. We have the main duo. Oh, wait, let me, there we go. Hold on, I'm feeling, conflicted. Okay. Okay, I had to make sure. Just making sure. I muted myself for just a second to talk to Brobat. So, we have Michelle Smith and Lawrence Pazder, who not only did a book tour, but basically allowed the book, Michelle remembers, to become a course, a how-to on dealing with satanic ritual abuse for doctors, therapists, and the police. Well, I'm not saying the police were trusted before. I could see this killing all trust. A-cab. But, like, again, this became, Michelle Remembers became basically a how-to book on how to deal with this bullshit. And like, it was handed out. According to what I watched, this book was kept on hand for some people. And there are videos of police procedure on how to identify ritual satanic abuse. I'm not sure if y'all can tell how done I am. And of course, now get to talk about bad or bothered about Dungeons and Dragons. Founded by Patricia Ann Shoker. Or Patricia Pulling. I think one of those is her maiden name and the other is her married name. But, her son committed suicide, which is something that happened, unfortunately, because this is a very stressful time for people. But if you're playing a game and then that game gets associated with Satanism, I could see the stress going up. But anyways, Patricia decided to push instead of pull. She kind of pushed for D&D being related to Satanism. Still an association there today. To be fair, there's a lot of demons in there. And now
now D&D players are their own problem. It was demons back in the day. Now it's the players and the DMs. But the actual starting case was John Egbert. He's not related to Patricia. And he actually went out to LARP. He went to live action RP his D&D with friends. And then and I think he just hung out with his friends. His parents, however, thought he was missing or killed himself because he went to the tunnels and didn't come back, but in reality he was just still with his friends because, you know, he was a teenager in the 80s. You can't really escape people in your own house in the 80s. But Patricia's John did later kill himself, but it was unrelated to D&D, much like Patricia's son. However, Patricia believed that her son's DM cursed him. And that's what started her campaign against D&D. And when she found it bad, she really decided to annoy a lot of the same people Michelle and Lawrence did, but on a smaller scale. She bothered librarians, community leaders, police officers, priests, teachers, people in charge of kids, basically. People who were within kids and teenagers. Welcome in, Oswin. How are you tonight? Thank you for the follow, by the way. We're talking about the Satanic Panic, and we're just talking about the D&D part. But welcome in. I hope you are doing well. How are you tonight? What are you doing? Let me get a drink. I'm trying to be smartical for everyone. While Patricia was mostly focused on D&D, she did push the anti-Satanic Panic. She did push the anti-Satan, the moral Christianity thing. Ooh, painting your nails green and eating oranges. Ooh, nice. I kind of want to make a joke about green orange, but I don't know the game well enough. That's a shooter called Green Orange. Now listening to you, thank you. I hope you enjoy. I hope I'm educating everyone just a little. But yeah, every death that was kind of connected to D&D during the Satanic Panic was not actually related to D&D. It was... Most of them were likely suicides or unrelated murders that were caused by stress and, you know, just being into nerd culture during a time when it wasn't popular. And probably being, you know... I don't want to say nerd culture was counterculture at the time. I don't think nerd culture has ever been considered counterculture. But I know at the time it was probably not the most popular thing. And it wasn't the most expansive thing. Because nowadays, nerd/geek culture is super expansive. Because you have video games, you have movies, you have fan fiction, you have everything. But it wasn't... I mean, like, you could be obsessed with things. You could be, like, otaku. That doesn't necessarily mean you were into nerd culture. It just happened to be people who were killing themselves just happened to be into D&D, and that's how that entire thing happened. People were into D&D, they died, And because of the Satanic Panic, mothers and fathers who weren't exactly smart saw these books full of monsters and demons and were like, oh my god, my son was cursed, or some shit. So, like, the D&D connection to the Satanic Panic is stupid. Much like everything in the Satanic Panic. I never knew D&D was linked to the Satanic Panic. It was. It was. Fun times. To be fair, I get it. Because even... And remember the Satanic Temple, it checks out. They never knew how right they were. But I do see how... Well, I don't see how anyone with half a brain could honestly be like, oh, my son was cursed. D&D is the cause of his death. But there are demons that have probably been in every single book. Except for the one immediately after the Satanic Panic, by the way. The TSR, you know, the ones who had D&D before Hasbro got their grimy, stupid hands on it. They did have a release right after the Satanic Panic, or during it, where they did remove demonic monsters. Because there have probably been demons since the first edition, though I have not checked out every single... I think the game had more explicit magic stuff initially that they've cut out. I understand that. They have been... I would understand since they have been sort of watering down mechanics per edition according to what I have been told. Though I do think the needs and wants of the D&D community have been shifting since when D&D originally came out. People don't want a life or death game anymore, and if they do, they can make that by themselves. I think people want more of their storytelling experience nowadays. You can always go back to previous editions, they didn't stop existing. And of course, there were talk shows. Like Oprah and Geraldo Rivera. Oh, I'm not sure if his last name was Rivera. I know there was a talk show named Geraldo. That kind of stoked the panics. Geraldo, I think both Geraldo and Oprah have had multiple shows focused on the Satanic Panic. I think both of them even had both Michelle and Lawrence on their shows. And like, Geraldo, I'm not sure if any other talk show host at the time has apologized for it. But Geraldo has apologized for stoking the Satanic Panic and for doing that show. Oprah hasn't, though. There's so many problems with Oprah, I have learned. The reason why she probably made her own channel is so that she could still end up making money from her fan base without having to talk to other normal people. But that's for another time. But talk shows basically did not help, because talk shows were... And again, this is probably why I'm calling out Oprah. A lot of talk shows were for the middle-aged white woman staying at home, or for the people who wanted to be middle-aged white women. So, well, I'm being very snippy. Y'all getting some snippy sassy Vesper tonight in this Sabbath. But, But as I said before, a lot of the Christian majority was pushing this. A lot of old, white, heterosexual Republican men. But also the expected 30 to 50-year-old white woman with kids staying at home during the day. We love shade. It's true, though. And, like, you can't see because I'm covering it up, because my bad. My bad. Let me get my ass a little more to the right. I really don't want y'all to see more of this one, but I guess we all have to suffer. I guess we all have to suffer a little. Suffering TM makes a character. But anyone who wanted to profit or genuinely believe in this stuff basically pushed the panic. There are books sold during this time that were like how to treat victims of ritual abuse, and like I said, talk shows, priests, therapists. There is recordings of women who were purported to be used as, they were basically baby factories for people who wanted to sacrifice babies. However, we know how true that is not. We know how fucking not true that is. Like, again, I do believe there are adult victims of therapists who push this on people. But then there are people who are like, oh yeah, I was there by the cult. I was there for the cult. I was there just to make babies for them to sacrifice. It's girly pop, we know you're not telling the truth. Again, though, people will believe the most fantastical of lies if it helps them avoid the truth. Now we get to the court cases. Like Christianity. Oops. I don't want to shit on any religion because I do believe in some things. Technically, I believe in all things, but I'm not like stupid about it. I'm not stupid about it. I'm fun with it. Oh well, I believe in nothing. I feel that. But to be fair, you have a point. You have a point. It's a very sharp, pointy point, but it's a point. You holding a knife there, Oswin. Yeah, there were people who just couldn't deal with the current reality. Again, that's why I believe this panic went so off the rails. Court cases. I'm going to talk about one of them. Multiple cases were birthed from the Satanic panic because people were accusing other people, and the accused were being arrested because people were insane, and the accused were brought to trial. While there are a lot of trials related to the Satanic panic, more than there should be because they were all fake, I'm going to talk about one of the major ones. There were 3 that most people in the media talk about. The West Memphis 3, the McMartin preschool trial, and the Kern County case. I will focus on the McMartin preschool trial. And this is going to be more of a quick overview. I wasn't sure how much time I was going to have. So we're only going to be focusing on like some small names. Like some of the more major names, I mean, in the trial, and we're not going to be going over every single detail. I suggest you read on it, though. It's entertaining. Please read up on the McMartin preschool trial. It is ridiculous. The McMartin school trial lasted for 7 years, from 83 to 1990. The accusations were in 83, the pre-trial from 84 to 87, and 2 trials from 87 to 1990. It resulted in no convictions and costs more than $15 million. This was in the 1980s and 90s. Which means this costs more than that today. This is probably like near, this has to be like more than 30 million today. Today's dollars. And it's one of the most expensive criminal trials in history. The first accusation came from Judy Johnson, that her 2-year-old son had been molested by Ray Buckley, a school aide at McMartin. So, like, her son was having stomach issues, bowel movement issues, and she was basically like, who raped you? Who sodomized you? And according to some sources, he either did accuse Ray or he did not accuse Ray. But anyways, she's not a well woman. After Ray was arrested on like 0 evidence, he was arrested on literally 0 evidence. A letter was sent out to every parent who brought their kids to McMartin. This was 200 parents. The letter asked people to question their child to see if they were a victim of Ray Buckley or anyone else at the school. Also, the letter was supposed to be confidential. 200 people asked to keep something confidential. How well do you think that went? You get 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count. Judy later made further allegations, many on the zany side, though some of them were very related to Satanism, but particularly related to accusations of Ray and his mother Peggy, who was an administrator at the school, included taking her son to a church where he was forced to watch a ritual that included the beheading of a baby, Ray flying like a witch, unnamed teachers chopping up rabbits in front of the children, the branding of a pentagram on Judy's son's bottom, or at least that's how I interpreted it. It went like something was put on the child's bottom. Oh, it'd be funny if they just put a pentagram sticker on this child's butt. And then it was just, you belong to Satan, here's a sticker on your butt. That's something I could see like a 2-year-old child doing to their baby brother or sister. You belong to Satan. Boom. Anyway, Judy was later revealed to be mentally ill. Is anyone surprised? They called her paranoid schizophrenic, though I did not see anything about a direct diagnosis. So, she was mentally ill. Like, she was confirmed to be mentally ill. Fun, right?
Oh, it gets worse. It does not get better. I mean, it does get better, but it has to get worse first. Parents sent their children to interviews that the police and district attorney asked them to do. There were 400 children sent to these interviews where they were asked leading questions, being primed, which is like an old technique of just basically getting what you want from someone you're questioning. And like not only were they basically asking leading questions, priming these children, they were offering rewards. So these children were probably not ever giving the right answers. These children were probably bribed with candy and toys to give the answers the interviewers wanted. Out of 400 kids, according to these interviews, 384 were diagnosed as having been sexually abused. 384 out of 400. I'm not saying that's a big number, but that's a big number. And later, 150 children of these 400, I believe, were physically examined for sexual assault. 80% of the children were reported to have proof of abuse on their body. Now, here's the thing. This proof is easily discreditable and could even happen if you were not abused. It was later discovered all but 6 of these cases were discredited, and those who were thought to actually have been assaulted could have been assaulted anywhere, but very specifically not the school. So, there were likely 6 children who never got actual justice because of this stupid thing. Oh. I'm kind of getting angry, chat. But, let us continue into this horrid story. Ray, his mother Peggy, and Virginia McMartin, the founder of the school, along with several other teaching aides and teachers, were indicted for 115 counts of sexual abuse. 93 more charges were added as a ploy to hype up the case by the up for election district attorney Robert Bosian. He lost, by the way, and we love to see it. But yeah, this dude basically plopped on 93 more charges for himself. He made himself a little treat at the cost of other people. Mr. Robert Mr. Robert, fuck you, was basically like, I'm gonna give myself a little treat here. I'm gonna put in some work here. I'm gonna put in some work here to just basically I'm gonna further my own career on the backs of these people. He did lose. The following district attorney wasn't much better, but we're not going to talk about him.
I don't get to be petty about him. He actually lasted after this case, so there's nothing entertaining there. LOL. Right. Absolutely zero evidence was found of anything. There was nothing. There was less than nothing. There wasn't even crumbs. There were no crumbs to eat for this courtroom. There was no serving. There was no eating. Everything is just air. Have you seen the meme of the person just cooking up air like a 5-star chef? This is what this courtroom was trying to do.
Now, do I have ads starting soon? Okay.
I have ads starting soon. Oh my god. I'm kind of getting angry now. It says I have ads starting soon. Why aren't you doing the ads? It's been so surreal seeing like MST and Ace Attorney and stuff in your real last lecture. I am an entire mood. I'm a mood. I feel like I'm in a college speech course. Oh no. Why did my music stop? You need more mood. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, sis. Why is my computer so hot? Oh, I wish ad breaks were shorter. I wish ad breaks were shorter. I'm starting to wonder if having the 1 minute 30-second break every hour and a half would be better than the well, not every hour and a half, every 30 minutes would be better than the 3-minute break every hour. However, I'm not sure. I may have to ask around. I'm gonna shop around. I'm gonna shop around. Mama's gonna shop around. Secret subscriber karaoke party. I had 90-second ads and I feel like they happen all the time. If they feel like they happen all the time, then I should just stick to the 3-minute ones every hour, cause I feel like I never know when they're gonna happen, but I at least know they aren't happening all the time. At least I know they're not happening all the time. Okay, according to Theory, it's only at the beginning of stream and after each and have to each hour. It feels like a lot. I feel that. I'm hoping to have something to fix my ads. At least I'll have something for people to watch while other people are watching ads. I don't want to spoil anything. I kind of want to have my own bumpers and stuff and my own, like, little commercials to promote my friends and my interests. But I have not started on any of that shit, because video editing is not me. But I have to. Anyways, back to my super serious lecture on back to my super serious lecture on on Satanism, on the Satanic Panic. So anyways, again, no evidence was found of any of the allegations. And apparently there were secret rooms where all this stuff was supposed to have went down. Parents of these children, as you know, parents are super protective of children, and they should be, went out to try and find these secret rooms underneath the school. They literally dug for them. Later on, the district attorney hired an archaeology firm which used actual stuff like scoopers and caterpillars and other things to actually dig underground for these secret rooms. Still not found. Either these are some really nicely hidden rooms, or they do not exist. At the preliminary hearings, after hearing the rather embellished testimonies of the victims, all charges against everyone except for Ray and his mother Peggy were dropped. There were some testimonies, believe you me. There's a lot of them. Please go read up on them. You can likely find a trial transcript, maybe. All the droppings against Ray and his mother Peggy were dropped. I mean, all charges against everyone except Ray and Peggy. The defense attorney did try to drop the charges for them as well, but the judge denied the motion. Now, there's plenty of stuff between when this happened and when they actually were acquitted, but it's a lot. And like I said, I don't want to spoil everything for you. Y'all need to go read about this trial yourself. I am not joking. I may be looking at the transcripts myself, because I'll be real, this was kind of last minute, but as I have let everyone know, February and January I've kicked my ass, so I'm doing my best. On November 1989, Peggy received a complete acquittal of all charges. Ray had the jury deadlocked, so he was kind of acquitted. He could be retried, though, and that's what happened. His retrial, though, went even better for him, as the jury wanted to acquit him on 6 of his 8 charges and was only leaning towards conviction on 1, and I mean leaning. They weren't even 100% sure to convict him. And thank you for the Tamagotchi.
Thank you, thank you. I feel like I'm back in my online college classes. Am I doing that good? I don't feel like I am. 2 college class comparisons. Oh no. The other consequences of the panic. I kind of went short on this because I felt like we've been through almost 40 slides, by the way. So like I'm probably gonna just gently touch on some other things while I'm talking about these. So like the other consequences. Metal music. Metal is kind of already forming. I think some of the first metal was in the late 70s. And like, I'll be honest, like, we're gonna talk about this later, but Satanic Panic wasn't really that big. Like, it was big, but it also wasn't. It's kind of in a paradox of its size. Let's be on the exam, Professor Vesper. Yes, but I'm not telling you when the exam is. Metal music actually was kind of propelled by the panic. Like, the panic did not dampen metal music's popularity. Like, honestly, like, there were things that were just made more popular by the panic. Because it made teenagers want to do it. It made a lot of people who just went against the norm interested. And so, like, metal kind of picked up on having Lucifer and demons as its mascot. Not to mention, Lucifer is kind of always seen as this kind of anti-establishment hero. Like Lucifer has been the good guy in more than a lot of ways, more in the limelight than they were been. Yeah. Like there are bands who got popular during the Satanic Panic. And like the Satanic Panic probably also propelled the Beatles a little bit more because of the, entire I'm more popular than Jesus Christ and the rumored backmasking. But the Satanic Panic probably just propelled metal. It's not as much as a consequence as just what happened. And of course, Dungeons and Dragons. The same thing that happened with metal music actually also happened with Dungeons and Dragons a little. LOL's this again. Yeah, I kind of went over most of it with Patricia. But there is some Dungeons and Dragons did gather some popularity from what happened with the Satanic Panic. Again, like, anyone with half a brain wasn't really buying into it. Like, there were probably Christians who were probably giving the Satanic Panic a little bit of credence, but they were probably also giving it the eye. I can't wait to share this at my next D&D session. Oh no. Please do not quote me. Please do a little bit of your own research, please. Thank you. But, the deaths, again, that were linked to Dungeons and Dragons, according to Professor Vesper, I'm going to die. I'm going to die of embarrassment. Oh no. But like I said, the deaths linked to D&D were mostly discredited anyways. But like the deaths were suicides of teens who were experiencing stress in life. Well, teens and adults, While it was vilified and still kinda is, like, people will be like, that's satanic.
It's not really, and people will notice that. Like, again, there was an issue of D&D with less demonic monsters, had most of the demons whipped out, but that was just for one issue. And like I said, D&D was, again, experienced the same thing as metal music. It was made more popular by the Satanic Panic than it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was popular at the time, but the Satanic Panic was kind of a Barbra Streisand effect. It brought more eyes to it than it took away. Like, there were people who were looking at this and like, oh, this is cool, this is neat. My grandmother hates it, so I'm going to do it. Like, metal music and metal and Dungeons and Dragons were Barbra Streisand by the Satanic Panic. Okay, so we're gonna stay on this one for a little bit so I can talk about Pokemon. We're gonna stay on this screen for a little bit so I can talk about Pokemon and other things. But, sorry to say it, no, it's okay. I did this on purpose. Pokemon Pocket Monsters, correct. So, like, at the tail end of the Panic, but it's funny, I'm playing Persona 3 as you're streaming. We'll talk about Persona a little bit, too. The Panic did last into the 90s, and we're still feeling it today. It was an entire cultural thing. It did affect anything that was not within, the traditional bounds of entertainment. And was kind of super popular. Because, their Pokemon was kind of more of, this is popular, more than this is satanic. I think there's more people wanting to bring Pokemon down than actually claiming it. Bad as it seemed, more like not enough, will not have achieved a true level of satanic saturation until horror news like on this slide are a regular experience. Same, System Chalk. Same, I need them everywhere. I need satyr men everywhere. I need the satyrs everywhere for reasons. And my music stopped, probably because I'm getting horny. I'm horny on main, excuse me. Excuse me, I do need these men everywhere. In fairness, if I looked like this, I'd go nude too. There's a gym at the new workplace. I stepped away for a second, what did I come back to? System Chalk started me, okay? Blame him. He started me, I'm just ending it. But, I don't believe Pokemon was meant to be a true, like, attack. Because it wasn't only Pokemon, it was Harry Potter too. Anything that was popular for a bit and wasn't 100% like within the normal bounds. Because, like, it was Pokemon and it was also Harry Potter that had the Satanism accusations. And I could see both, where they got for both, but also they were both super popular. And I say this because my grandma didn't want me to read Harry Potter. She's super duper Catholic. Yeah, I can see. I could see that. I stopped reading Harry Potter, but mostly because it just got super popular. But I say that was because they were popular targets and just a bit off. So Reggie, I know, right? Kind of glad I didn't read all of them though. Now, I'm so glad. I did watch a lot of the movies though, so gotta balance out the scale. But I say that because if you grew up during the time of Pokemon, you were one of two kids. You were the Pokemon child or you were the Yu-Gi-Oh child. Those were the fixations. You were not a Cardcaptor Sakura child. You were not a Digimon child. You were one of those two. I was neither. Sorry. But, like, that's how it was for my school. I was scared of all of them. Oh no. But in the end, Pokemon was definitely more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is probably why it ended up with the Satanism accusations, even though Yu-Gi-Oh! Would make more sense because it was mythology based. And not to mention, I'm pretty sure Satan is an actual card. Not to mention, Obelisk the Tormentor, if I remember correctly, was supposed to be a Satan allegory. Obelisk the Tormentor was meant to be a Satan allegory. However, it's just that Pokemon was the all-consuming void for children. Which is very funny, considering how, again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a Satan allegory. Digimon outright has Satan. Digimon outright has Satan in the series. Not only was there saying there's multiple devil Digimon. So it's like you had one choice, Christians, and you made the worst one. They had one job, and they were given multiple targets, and they made the worst one. Because Pokemon didn't even have a Satan allegory until the 4th generation. Like if you look at Yu-Gi-Oh, there's Obelisk, there's Obelisk in the first series, and there's probably some actual Satan person in the first series as well. As I said, Digimon literally has Satan. Cardcaptor Sakura is magic-based, like Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, out of the 4 major children's anime that I remember, they made the literal worst choice. So it wasn't going out of the way to be like, oh, we hate Satan. Satan is so cringe. It was literally because Pokemon was popular. That's it. That's all. Like there could probably be actual, like, dissertations and stuff on why Pokemon was seen as satanic, but let's be real, it was it was the main thing capturing the attention of children at the time. And it was just big. It was big, capturing the attention of children. That's why Christians hated it. Same for Harry Potter. Though I think when it comes to books, Christians are a little bit more on the ball. As I have noticed as of late. But Pokemon and Harry Potter were victims of the onset, the effects of Christianity. But was the Satanic Panic as bad as I'm making it out to be? Well, Madonna's still here. You think I mean that as a joke, but... but... she will never die. She will outlive us all. I don't know who she made a pact with, but I need to go find them. I procrastinate too much not to live forever. I need to find whoever she made a pact with and sign. But no, seriously, I don't... I mean it as a joke, but also I don't. Because the world was still moving on as the Satanic Panic happened. Everything that was happening in the 60s and 70s still continued to happen. And, again, Madonna. Madonna started in the 80s? Let me double check. I'm pretty sure Madonna started in the 80s. Okay. Like, when did she release her first song? Oh my god, she was born in 1958. Oh, she's 65. That doesn't... Is that math right? Yeah, she released her first album in 1983. Madonna started in 1983. And like I said, the world kept moving. I mean, there are people who suffered. There were people who are still suffering from the trauma of these times. But it wasn't like it affected everyone. It affected a small amount of people compared to the rest of the world. I mean, those people deserve their justice. They deserve to heal. They deserve to have the crimes committed against them acknowledged. Like, there are people who were arrested and who were put into jail and who still haven't gotten out of jail despite all this. But, the Satanic Panic was more of a panic for people who were heavily invested in the moral Christian life, in the idea of the nuclear family, and the 1950s black and white welcome to Mayberry, Leave It to Beaver-esque life. Those were the people worried with the panic. there are people who were fine with the New World, who did not suffer from this, who were probably more worried about the multiple serial killers being active. There are people who were like, oh, that's not actually a thing. There are people who did not buy into the fantasticalness because they couldn't ignore reality. They didn't want to ignore that, what was happening, because it didn't affect them. There are people who were just fine with the world becoming what it is. There are people who are fine with hippies and the New Left and the environmental movements and sex too. There are people who are fine with Madonna. There are people who are fine with Bowie and Prince, and the world was moving on while this was happening. The people who were stuck in this, the people who fed into it, were mostly the ones affected. And like I said, it was too fantastical. The people buying into it were the only ones affected. And the people who they accused and arrested, and the people who were affected by those accusations and arrests, the ripple effect. There was a little bit of a ripple effect, yes, but the world kept moving on. So, it did hurt a lot of people. And it continues to affect the world, don't get me wrong. I don't think there was anything we could have done about it, considering the majority of America was Christian. And this was a moral panic. This was a panic of morals. This was a belief of the degradation of the family, the spirit, the holiness that was supposed to be innate to America, or some shit. I don't know. Certain Christians tire me. The ones from this entire slideshow. This is tiring. But but it was both a big thing, but also not very big. Again, it is a paradox, but many of these things tend to be paradoxes if you look at them outside of their box. Which is what we're doing. We are examining this in and outside of the box. And the box is unfortunately very Christian. Oh, fortunately and unfortunately. There have been ongoing effects that we cannot take back, like Pizzagate and adrenochrome that was built upon the Satanic Panic. And, you can see the Satanic Panic in both of those. And you will probably see it in future conspiracy theories and panics. And all those will go back to the Blood Label. Because that's what the Satanic Panic goes back to. Which is always lovely. And that's the end. Did everyone have a nice time? Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Croissants? Questions, comments, concerns, or croissants? I like a good croissant. Thank you, thank you. I will be here. I'll be here on Friday. I'm taking a break Thursday. I worked my little ass off for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Questions, comments, concerns, croissants. I'll take all of them. So, would you say the Satanic Panic is over, or are people still bothered? I would say... in most ways, the panic isn't truly over. Well, it's mostly over. I'll say that. Hold on, wait, hold on. I'm doing stuff. It's over, but it will come back, like, in different forms. Like I said, the Pizzagate, the QAnon, the adrenochrome. Maybe a lesser word than panic now. This satanic uncomfortableness. Satan is making me uncomfortable. But, truly... I got some funny looks in parking lots of Satanic Temple sticker on my car. Yeah, but I think that's more of what we've been taught. I think that's more of just general Christianity being the majority in America. I think the satanic uncomfortableness will always be around until Christianity stops being the major influence in the government. But in terms of panic, technically, it's always going to be around because, again, like I said, it goes all the way back to the Blood Libel. And it's going forward in Pizzagate and QAnon. So it's not even that the Satanic Panic is still alive. It's more of the Blood Libel is still alive. But I don't think it's technically as alive as it could be. It is definitely more of an ongoing satanic uncomfiness, but I think, with the fact that Has Been Hotel exists, and, Lucifer was on Fox for a bit. I think it was on Fox. The show Lucifer. And we have a lot of shows where demons are actively being portrayed as good guys, or at least morally gray. And I think most of it is gone, you know? Not because some of the people in that are dead, but I think, like, I did go over this because I forgot to add it. The reason why the Satanic Panic majorly ended was because none of it could be proven. Like, you want to know who mostly ended the Satanic Panic? Insurance companies. Claims had to be made for a lot of these people going into hospitals and therapists and everything. And so when those claims were investigated, nothing came out of it. And like when police did investigations, because, you know, they had to eventually investigate all this bullshit, nothing was coming up because, again, claims that are too fantastical. So like the Satanic Panic came to an eventual end because there was nothing to back up any of these claims. Like, insurance people sent out their own investigators and the regular police for this. And, like, the people in charge of money were like, we need to make sure this ain't fucking us up. And, like, they made sure they weren't being fucked up and discovered the truth. So, like, the Satanic Panic ended because people stopped being a little bit stupid. Like, there are a lot of people who probably still believe some stuff actually happened. But the Satanic Panic ended because there was nothing to back up these claims. And a lot of smart people were like, okay, this was kind of stupid. People are stupid in other ways now. Unfortunately. But I don't think you see a Satanic Panic mostly because again, there's like so many shows just portraying Satan as a relatively nice guy. Like, there's Supernatural, though. I have my own problems with Supernatural. That one show by Neil Gaiman. Or those two shows? I think there's two shows where Satan's a nice guy by him. Lucifer by DC and Marvel. Constantine, which I think had a different Lucifer, but Lucifer was still nice in Constantine. I'm not sure. I'm not good with DC and Marvel. They both could have Lucifers. It's likely they do. Yeah, there's a lot of, at least morally gray, Lucifers and Satans out there now. Like, this isn't even counting, anime portrayals, which I really don't want to count. Just because Japan just, like, looks at Catholicism and goes, oh, this looks neat. And plops it in wholesale into the anime and is like, yeah, this is fine. We don't know shit about them. They work like Mikos, right? They work like temple priestesses, right? They can exercise people, right? However, to be fair, and we don't really treat nuns normally in the West either. We have Asylum, where Sister Jude does perform an exorcism, and then we have the nun, where the nun also performs an exorcism. So, like, maybe Japan's right. Maybe we should just Japanify our nuns. Our nuns should get the same powers as our priests. We need to move some job abilities from priest to nun. Our nuns need to be more overpowered. Let's work, God. Let's work to move these JRPG stats. Come on. The new skill trees will be out in like a week. The new skill trees for the nuns will be out in a week. Oh, I think I can. No, I won't unpin that immediately. But like, the Satanic Panic, it has effects. And like I was reading on, Satanic stuff. Hold on. Where is my... Oh. This is Satanic Ritual Abuse allegations. Like, there's some relatively modern ones. There's 2001 in Melbourne, Australia. Oh no, hold on. That was a 1960s case. Okay, hold on. Um. Yeah, there was one in Dublin. And Dublin is the where the fuck is this? Can you? We're going to say Ireland. No, wait, hold on. Yeah, the capital of Ireland. There was a satanic. There was something in. There was a satanic ritual abuse in Ireland in 2007. Oh, hold on. That it was a court rule over a case 3 decades ago. Why can y'all not fix this when it happens? Never mind, I'm wrong. Oh, hold on, there was something in 2011. Yeah, 2011 in Kidwelly in the United Kingdom. So we actually got something in the past 2 decades. And one thing in Louisiana, though. Louisiana is a whole different ballgame. But, it kind of just... The accusations kind of just stopped after a certain point. Mostly when we went to the OOs. Now, does that mean religious abuse doesn't exist? No, it exists. There's actual cult that are really horrible. And religious abuse is a thing. However, satanic ritual abuse, not a thing. I mean, if it is a thing, it's probably unreported, or not actually going on, or you know, if someone's doing that, it's not going to be a big deal, as it was. Because, you know, once a big mass moral panic is revealed to be fake, don't think anyone's gonna take your case seriously, sorry. That's not your fault, that is Michelle's fault and her need for the dick. Remember, everyone, a satanic panic started because Michelle Smith wanted her therapist's dick. Okay, the throat's getting a bit sore. We're hitting 11 o'clock. Let's see who's on. Oh my god. I'm looking at my thumbnail and it's the Madonna's still here slide. Oh, Madonna's still here. Me to myself, Madonna's still here. Okay. Okay, let's see. Um... I think we'll raid... I think I'll raid Pally. I know I already raided Kath, but still. Now wait, hold on. Do I have anyone more related to Satanism? I need to give demons. You know what? Caprican is on. So... so we got raid a demon. After, you know, talking about Satanism. Got raid a demon after talking about, after talking about the Satanic. I would stay on longer, but we just finished. I feel good about our finishing. So, let's see here. Yeah. And not to mention, I want to get out before the ads start. So, let's recap again. He's awesome, he's fun. He's also using his cute chibi model right now, which is adorable. But thank you all for joining me. I hope y'all learned something. If not, I hope y'all at least had fun. But I'll see y'all later. See you Friday for Ravenous Devils. If I don't, I'll see you when I see you. Good night and good fortune.